the days. My youth so happy, my hair so nappy, had an afro.
Yo, what is going on, guys? What is happening, everybody? Welcome to Nightcap. This is the fourth Nightcap. No, it's not. It's the third because it's week 3. It's the third Nightcap, and we have to have the conversation. We have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to give credit where credit's due. And we have to understand how simplified the game is being played. And with that comes level. And with that comes a little bit of humbleness, guys. A lot of emotions in the fan base today. Evening 18, evening Cam, evening Andrew, evening Emerson. What's going on, guys? Big up to all of you guys. Some proper Arsenal thinking intelligent fans that we've got. And I appreciate all of you guys. But first of all, let's talk about what we were trying to do going into the game. We'll do player ratings in a minute, because that's the most important thing to reflect on the performance of the players. But at the moment, I think I think we got to understand and reflect on the fact that neither City or Liverpool have beaten Arsenal in the last 3 seasons. In the last 6 games, we've just owned them, and it's not even close. It's not like we were engulfed by them and we were hanging on by a string. It's like none of the games have been like that. We've had a 3-1 wins against Liverpool where we tore them apart, 5-1 win against City where we absolutely murdered them. And that's what happens when the game's a little bit more open and you take your chances earlier on. But most of the games, especially the 1-0 win at the Emirates against City when Martinelli scored the goal, when Havertz held the ball down against 3 defenders, and then Martinelli hit the winner in. A lot of those games, guys, have been extremely close where teams have cancelled each other out. And that's kind of where the game was yesterday. And this is the reason why I'm saying, fine margins against cautiousness. Every top manager approaches these games with caution. They just do. That's whether it's any of the top teams in Europe, whether it's, they approach a game with caution. And when you have an early opening, which doesn't happen all the time, but it happens, then that creates the dysfunction in terms of the manager breaking up the game plan, and then everything changes. But as long as the game stays at 0-0, that's what the teams are looking for. They're looking for the slight little opening that can break the game. The top teams just play like that. And so I've got no issue, and I've been around the forums, and I've got no issue on how Arteta approached the game in regards to tactics and how we set the team up. I thought actually they were pretty good. Had that freak goal not gone in, we would have walked away there with 0-0 and everybody would have been happy with a draw. Yeah, that's the reality of it. The reality of it is when a goal goes in like that, you got to put your hands up and say, "Bruh, fair play to you." And that's the situation. That's where I am. Yeah. Andrew says, Apollo, we must not continue to defend Arteta no matter what. We should have made changes earlier. No, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't defend him, but we should call it out when it's right, and when it's wrong, we should call it out. I'm not so sure about the changes. I just think the team sheet was wrong. In regards to Arteta, what he got right was the tactics and the way he set the team up, because he knows how to do it. He knows how to nullify Liverpool and Man City, and it frustrates them. Yeah. End of last season, we went to Anfield. We had no striker. Partey wasn't there. We had no Gabriel. Gabriel was injured, and a thin squad. And Liverpool, by all accounts, should have walked all over us. The game ended up 2-2. Why? Because Arteta knows how to play them. He knows how to nullify them, especially in the midfield. People say Liverpool have the best midfield. They can't do nothing against our setup. And that's why he started Moreno. And Moreno, we'll talk about him later on, he created unrest for their midfield. But the pressure is on Arteta because and this is going to you, Andrew, what he should not have done was start Martinelli. That was the wrong call. Andrew says there's a monkey on his back of Arsenal going into Anfield. Yeah. I'm not sure. Well, as I said, Liverpool hadn't beaten us. This is the 4th year, and then they've got a result against us. So it's by all accounts, we've been solid there, and we were solid yesterday. So as I said, it's a freak goal, and I know the mood is a little bit down, but it was a world-class goal. And any goal like that deserves to win a tie like this because it was quite even. Arsenal nullified Liverpool for 60 minutes. Ten Hag makes some changes. Arsenal adapted to it, but it was just a freak goal given away by a stupid foul by Zimbabwe. You can't really account for those things. But if had Arsenal left there with a point yesterday, nobody would be saying a thing. So yes, he did go. Arteta went in there too safe, too cautious, too. Some people might say negative, but I wouldn't use that word because that strategy has worked many times with us before. And taking a point away from home with your title rivals is a good thing. That's a good thing. Liverpool had to change their approach because there's no way for them to play through us. And even Andrew, when they did change their approach, they still really didn't get anything on us. They still didn't create anything on us. They were on the front foot more, changing the setup that they had made them more attacking. But our defense was solid. And in the player ratings, I'm giving both the centre backs an 8 because they absolutely nullified what Liverpool were doing, even with the changes. So this is where we talk about fine lines versus cautiousness. And when you get beat by that, Andrew, what can you say? When you get beaten by quality like that, there's absolutely nothing you can say. On the flip side of that, Arteta's team sheet with Martinelli is costing him. It was the wrong decision. Martinelli, by no way or chance, proved that he should be starting in that game. Players have to play really well. They have to show the manager that you should pick me. I deserve to be picked because the form that I have is I'm making myself undroppable, right? We all agree. But by no means did Martinelli show us that. He just hasn't. So how did we get to the point where he earned a starting spot in that team? Look at the bench. You didn't. I mean, you even had Trossard. The worst case scenario was, all right, I don't want to start Eze or Ethan Nwaneri, and we all know about the Max Dowell deal. Yeah, he's on limited minutes because of his age, so we can't really bring him to the fold. But the options was there, and yet he took the worst option in such a big game. It just that's what backfired on Arteta, if I'm honest. Especially after United, where Gyökeres had made 3 clear runs on the back line and Martinelli never gave him the ball once. Yeah. Yesterday there was 2 runs that Gyökeres made. And listen, this guy has made more runs than any forward in the first 3 weeks into the final third. And he's getting 0 to no service. I see people a little bit down on him and player ratings on him are low, but the guy is working his socks off. He's working hard. He's pressing hard. He is putting in a shift, Victor Gyökeres, but he's getting no service. And that's not on him. That's not on him. So Arteta, the pressure's on him because we got to put an end to the 5-year Baron without a trophy, and that's causing some unrest among the fan base. Not necessarily with myself. I know where the situation is at the moment. He has to deliver with the team that he's got. He's never had a squad like this. But at the same time, especially after Liverpool's win against them, and then in the transfer market, Mark Gahey and Isak, I don't think Liverpool's losing this league. I think they're going to win the league. I know I went for Arsenal when we did the preview 2 weeks ago, but looking at Liverpool now and their squad, and I think, we all know, we all said that if Liverpool get Isak, it's over. And for me, I think they're going to walk the league this year. That's just my personal opinion. Andrew says, you've proved you're risk averse. Yeah, he is. He's risk averse. He is. I don't know how it helps him recover from this, but as I can say though, Andrew, being risk averse has proven that he's had the upper hand against Liverpool and City over the last few years. He has. He's just been the better manager out of them in terms of matchups and the performances. We've got 6 games of data that shows us that Arteta really matches up well against them. But you're saying he hasn't recovered from a capitulation. I don't know about that. I mean, that's your personal opinion. I respect it. I think that the wealth of the squad just nullifies everything now. Like, the chance is yours. All the hurt and pain that we've had over the last 3 years should be fueling and giving you momentum to move forward. And he's been handed these weapons to cure that short squad problem. You know, that syndrome that has hurt us over the years, which he's suffered with. And the question, Andrew, is about that. Big shout out to you, Garfield. He said, respect Palace player. At least go visit the friends down the road. He said, can't do that. The big thing about it, Andrew, is the rotation. In the summer, one of the questions that Arteta had to answer was, is he going to rotate his squad? And he has. If you look at Dalman and the minute speed he's been given to all kind of players, I don't think Skelly's played enough. But then look at Calafiori and you're not going to complain. But I'm talking about overall, Madueke's played, Wanieri's played, Dalman's played, Moreno's been mixed in with the midfield. So at the moment, after three games, he's rotating. Yeah, regardless of what anyone wants to say about, that was one of the big things with Arteta, right? It was just the rotation. It was poor. He's hanging players out to dry. Yeah. And that's what was causing all the hamstring stuff and whatever and blah, blah, blah. But he's definitely got over that. But I want to talk about where Arteta got it wrong and why I understand the mindset. So the Martinelli thing, I talked about why he shouldn't have picked him, but I'm going to tell you why he did pick Martinelli. He picked Martinelli because Martinelli, in the last 10 games against Liverpool, has had 6 goals and 2 assists. So he's had a hand in 8 goals in the last 10 games against Liverpool. And we all said, didn't we, before the game, Martinelli always has a tear against Liverpool. And so Arteta took that chance. And for me, he shouldn't have took that chance because Old Trafford against United should have shown you that this guy's head was way gone. So the reaction, even I think, in terms of what Andrew's talking about, and this is something I'll agree with, in the first half, you would have known it weren't working. So I was expecting Eze to walk out in the second half. When I saw Martinelli walk out in the second half, I was like, what is brother doing? I said, what is Mikel doing? You know it ain't working. You've had the Man United game and the first half at Anfield to tell you that Martinelli ain't working. And so that was just like, come on, bro. And then, yes, 10, 15 minutes in second half, we still had a hold on the game. And then it was like the 60th minute where Slot made some changes and the game started to go to and fro a little bit more. And Liverpool came back into the game. But for me, and this is going to hurt to hear, guys, this is going to hurt. Martinelli, in 70 minutes, never completed one dribble. One. He never completed one dribble in 70 minutes. And the kicker is, as soon as Eze came on, he completed 2 dribbles in his first 5 minutes. And one of them, guys, remember when he was in the corner flag and he duped the defender, ran into the penalty area, and then tried to get the penalty? I thought Eze should have gone for shot. Why do players do that, guys? Why is it when they get in those positions and they feel contact, they just go down? You're 5 feet from the goal. The goal is right in front of you. Just put your foot through the ball. Just hit the target. I don't know why footballers do that. It really frustrates me why players, knowing they can have an effort and a shot on goal, go down in the box looking for a penalty. And it wasn't a penalty. It was not a penalty. But the point is that within 5 minutes, Eze already did more than what Martinelli did in 70 minutes. And so, yes, I think there is credence to the fact that Arteta went in there too passive. But I think it's a harsh word to use because I would predict more cautious. And that's what managers do at the top level. All of them do it. Whether it's Pep, whether it's Slot, all managers approach the game, even in Europe, even the best managers. But it's the breakthrough goal that changes everything. So if you're Bayern Munich, PSG, or Real Madrid, or Barcelona, or City, or Arsenal, or Liverpool, it's that first goal that breaks everything, and then that's when the game starts to change. Because it's a game of chess, right? It's a game of chess. And it's very difficult at this level to cancel teams out. And that's why when we tormented Liverpool 3-1 and then beat City 5-1, those are the breakthroughs that happen early, but sometimes it doesn't. But these things will come back to haunt Arteta, I think, in terms of Martinelli. You just paid for that mistake. And you gambled and it didn't work. Yeah, Arsenal last enjoyed a win there in 2012 when Arteta was actually playing. So look, that's all I'm really going to say about the game and my thoughts behind it. Andrew said Martinelli is a victor of approach by Arteta. There's no evidence of coaching. Yeah, there is evidence. The evidence was that in his first season, when he was 18, he scored 10 goals. We played him as a striker. Remember when Aubameyang got hurt? I remember his best game was when we went down to Stamford Bridge and got a 2-2 draw. And remember when he stole the ball, ran 70 yards, went round the keeper and put it in the back of the net. He was playing without abandon then. He was essentially Alexis Sanchez. He was playing with abandon, like no system, just, hell for leather. And then when the system came, he was even better. He scored 15 goals over the last 2 years. And those 15 goals, guys, has come from Arteta and the training and the coaches. They should take responsibility for making him as good as he was. And that's how he earned his name. And on top of that, in the latter years, he's been defending well. Even when his form has been poor offensively, he's been defending well. All of that is coaching. But we've had these conversations with Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Nelson, and an abundance of players. Sometimes a team just outgrows you. And there's nothing to be ashamed of that. Yeah, there's nothing to be ashamed. If, saying goodbye to a Smith Rowe and an Nketiah, a Martinelli, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not criminal. Let's not treat it like it's criminal. If we have got that good as a team that we have to say goodbye to the Jesus, Zinchenko, Martinelli, then so what? We're moving on. And that's just the nature of transition into a world power. It is. If you're going to be one of the best in the world, them dibby players there, they're just going to fall by the wayside. We can't complain about it. We just have to understand that there's a pecking order to this. Yeah. So that's where I am on that. What does he say? Andrew says, "This is why I cannot rate Jose Mourinho. Highly defensive, strong." Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a bit difficult talking about Mourinho because then you have to talk about Ferguson and you've got to talk about Wenger, and it's a completely different era. Like, this is a new era of football, and we'll call them modern managers, right? Mourinho hasn't proved that he can manage within the modern game. Yeah, he just hasn't. Because he's got the old way, hasn't he? And all the new systems they're running now and everything, he's too stuck in his ways. But in his day, he was up there with Wenger and he was up there with Alex Ferguson. But all them managers would struggle in today's game. It's just evolved to a different game right now. So, guys, let's talk about... before I do the player ratings, no, let's do the player ratings now because I know you lot have been waiting for a while. So player ratings, let's talk about the performances. So David Raya, guys, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I thought he made a couple of good saves in the second half, especially when Liverpool started to gain ground in the game, and there was nothing he could do about the free kick. There's a narrative out there that he could have saved it and all of that stuff. And come on, Cortez is 6'7" and had no chance with 2 Declan Rice free kicks. So I think it's unfair and probably agenda driven to say that Raya could have saved it. He had no chance. You'd stuck any goalkeeper there and no chance. Sorry, it just he didn't have any chance at that. But I think where I saw him struggle a little bit and why I not notched him down a bit is because, and it's not his fault, was the transition. Him getting the ball out into the midfield. It's not just been a struggle against Liverpool, but all season. And I know you guys are going to hate me for this. You guys are going to hate me for this, but I have to say, without Thomas Partey, we do look frail playing the ball out from the back. And that's nothing against anybody. We all know, we're all grown men, we're all adults. We all know that the Thomas Partey situation was untenable. You know, you giving this guy 33 million when, no, as a backup, no, it just wasn't going to work. Yeah. And to see what he's earning at VLL, it's like you turned down 240k a week for 40 grand. You know, you're getting paid 5 times less leaving Arsenal, and you was holding us to ransom for so that doesn't, you know, there's ethics involved in that, and I don't think we did anything wrong in the Thomas Partey situation for the contract. Yeah. But what I will say is that whole transition, we're struggling as a team. There was many periods yesterday where we were just struggling to move the ball past the halfway line. And that affects everybody's game. It affects the goalkeeper. It affects the pivot player in Zubimendi. It affects the forwards, especially the number 8. So Moreno, Declan Rice, it affects everybody, because then you have to change your stance on how your build-up play works. If you're having to come too deep and then the numbers aren't there, that is where we're struggling as a whole, as a team. So I'm giving him 6.5. You're in Timber, I'm going to give him a 7.5. I kind of should give him an 8. Actually, you know what? Let's give him an 8. It's unfair, isn't it? Let's get 8. I'm going to have to change this on the fly real time when I'm with you guys. Let's give Timber an 8. Yeah? Because the whole defense just crippled Liverpool. The whole defense just nullified them. And you're talking about a guy, I'm a big Cody Gakpo fan. Yeah, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. And this guy took him out like he was nothing. Yeah, he just took it, he just blanked him. And he's been doing that, Timber, for a long time. Sorry, let me move here because I can't actually see your comments. I can't actually see. Here you go. Andrew's saying once Thomas Partey left, yeah, and he's got the right player in there. Don't get me wrong. I would not have it any other way. But when you're coming into a double pivot, which, by the way, Partey was the only person who could do that. If you put Rodri in a single pivot, sorry, not double pivot. If you put Rodri in a single pivot, he's dead. There's no two ways about it. If you put him in a single pivot, he's gone. Yeah, that Man City team will be a leaky bucket. He was just so good at what he did in one phase of the game, which is transition. He would fight off 2 or 3 players, receive the ball, and then play the ball forward to just knock out the whole midfield. And he did it continuously. He was so consistent in his performance. Really ever lost possession and always moved the ball forward into dangerous areas. Sucked up the pressure, dealt with the overloads. Really did we have to put a man in there to help him. He was that good. And unfortunately, with him not being here, that is going to be a learning curve. And we all knew it. I've talked about it all summer. Yeah. But moving on to Mascara, I'm going to give Mascara an 8. Boy, he filled Saliba's shoes with authority. Did you know, guys, when Saliba went off, which I thought was a stupid thing in the first place, why we played him if you knew he was injured 5 minutes before the game, I personally think that he shouldn't have played. So that's on the coaching staff and maybe the medical team. All of them. It's not just Arteta. All of them are at fault for it. But when he went off, guys, I didn't actually feel any way. I thought I had the Kiviar feeling. Remember when Kiviar was playing in the last season and you didn't have to even worry about the defense. You were just like, it's all good. Garfield's coming with some breaking news that Zinchenko's joined Nottingham Forest on a season loan. Okay, so we've probably earned some money from that. because I know they were talking about a 12 million loan fee or something like that. I don't know if it's going to be that much, but that definitely helps Forest out. And that's all about Edu. It's Edu doing them thing there. Yeah. Edu just pick up the phone and say, help me out, guys, man. We're dying here. We just got battered by West Ham 3-0. So Mascara guy, when Mascara came on, man, look, guys, he was so comfortable on the ball. His ability to play the ball from the defense, it was just so reassuring. He tracks the ball in the air well. He's as good as anyone in that regard in terms of clearances. The fact that Liverpool failed to score in open play is just a reflection on his defensive play. Gabriel, who was the captain of the day, dealt with everything thrown at him. He had a shot blocked from Kanate too. So again, another solid performance, another 8. My man of the match, Calafiori, contributed in both attack and defense on the day. He had 2 blocked shots from Liverpool's defense as well. Isn't that weird? Gabriel had 1 shot blocked and Calafiori had 2 shots. So we were peppering them. There's no 2 ways about it. And then Madueke had that chance. Do you know what I mean? So people are talking about cautiousness. We had chances to score. We really did. We created enough chances to score. And in a tight game like that with fine margins, we had our chances. But this was the big thing to me, guys. He held the league's best player, the best player in the Premier League, Mo Salah. He held him without a single dribble. Salah lost 6 duels to him. He didn't win a single duel. He lost the ball every single time he ran up to Calafiori. And no shots on target. No shots. It just Salah. That has to be one of Salah's worst games if you're a Liverpool fan. Because, you know, remember when he used to rinse Zinchenko? No more rinsing. Last season, I remember he played Miles Lewis-Skelly. Miles Lewis-Skelly booted him off the field. But Calafiori was just unbelievable yesterday. Just unbelievable. I have to say, in terms about Martin Zubimendi, are we on Zubimendi? Yeah, we are. Zubimendi gets a 5, guys. Look, he's not the tackler that Partey was, but he can get in for a tackle. He can get in. He can get stuck in. He's just not the tackler Partey is. And he committed way too many fouls. Is it because the Premier League is more faster pace than the Liga? Maybe. It's a transition for him. We know that. Coming from that league to the Premier League, you know, and everyone's talking about his Rodri levels. He's one of the best central midfielders in the world. Yeah, we all know that. We stole him from all of our rivals. We get it. But we're asking you to do something now which only Thomas Partey excelled at, which is playing a single pivot. So you, in the same way Declan Rice had a learning curve coming to Arsenal, Zubimendi, in my opinion, has got the same learning curve. And he's been okay so far, but he missed the mark yesterday. He missed the mark. And just committed way too many fouls. He even gave the foul away that resulted in Liverpool's free kick that won the game. He picked up a yellow card for that as well. But he doesn't look comfortable in a single pivot. Should I abandon that project if it was me? No. Yeah, because you made your bed. Now you got to work through it with him, and he is good enough and world class to come out of it. But it's just going to be a learning curve. It was a big test. It's a big test for him since Partey's left. And it was the right thing to do to get Zubimendi in there. But I think how it affects him is, and we talked about the struggles in the midfield, not having Partey, and how it affects the whole team and some of the players. And one of the players is Declan Rice, who I'm coming up with next. I gave Declan a 7, but Declan Rice's game has been greatly affected. It just has. I thought he done well. The couple of corners that he had first wasn't up to scratch, but after that, for the whole game, he was tormenting Liverpool with swinging corners. It was just crippling Liverpool. Every time Declan Rice went in there for a set piece, Liverpool, them guys their knees were shaking because he just does that to you. But he didn't really get up the pitch as much where he tried to make a difference, and it's confusing really because as he played for a number 8 for 2 years at Arsenal. Arteta's been grooming him, and this is another thing. Andrew was talking about in terms of training and grooming and coaching players, right? Declan Rice is a prime example of how good Arteta and the coaching staff is. Not having played the number 8 and saying many times that he's got to learn something new. In his first season, Declan Rice, he's been for 2 years. First season, 7 goals, 8 assists. Last season, 9 goals, 10 assists. Proven to be world class at the 8. He showed that in his performances in the Champions League against Real Madrid. And now we've hit the reset button and we're playing him deeper. And he doesn't look like a goal threat anymore, in this new defensive role. Now he's having to get deep to help Zubimendi. And so that's hurting our offensive output. Does that make sense, guys? Like not having Partey is changing our whole midfield structure. And it's something that has to happen. But I thought Declan Rice had a good game yesterday. I thought if I had to say the top 3 players, I would say it was Calafiori number 1, Madueke number 2, and then Declan Rice number 3. So yeah, I mean, but I think we're putting the handcuffs on him now, because Declan was allowed to go as an advanced number 8 to go in and cause terror and havoc among defensives, and now he's playing as more of a pivot 8. And I think that is handcuffing his game. Mikel Merino, guys, I thought I gave him a 7. Look, he didn't do enough going forward, and I don't think that was his role. There was at times when we looked like we was playing 2 up front, but that changed after 10 minutes. For the rest of the game, attacking wasn't his job role. His job was out of possession, breaking up Liverpool's attack, causing overloads, which he's one of the best. He's probably the best person in our midfield doing it, along with Kai Havertz. Playing that number 8 role as a pivot midfielder. He is winning duels left, right, and center. He's just a monster in the tackles at breaking up stuff, and that's why Mikel put him in there, and it was the right thing to do. A lot of people talking about they didn't think it worked. It worked because Liverpool, in terms of outfield goals and chances, created nothing. And that was due to Mikel Merino. Had that wonder goal not gone in, he would have been the reason why Arteta structured a hard-fought draw at Anfield, and they'd be commended for it. But I'm going to give him his dues because he had a good game. Madueke, guys, a 7.5. He managed to cause so much issues on the right. Having 2 shots blocked, having pulling off a good save from Alisson. Alisson, I don't know how we saw that because it was in traffic. I think it was a last-minute reaction to it, and it was a good save. Had that been any higher, that would have been 1-0 Arsenal. But he tracked back well to help Timber out, which I thought was the weakest part of his game. Remember against Man United when Ahmad just blew him up twice? I said, nah, man, this guy's got to learn to defend. I like what he does up front, but he ain't showing me nothing defensively, especially in that Man United game. Man United blew him up. And so when he defended alongside Timber yesterday, I thought, yeah, hats off to you, bro. He had a really good game. That's the Madueke that I was expecting to see from day one. Victor Gyökeres, I'm going to give a 6. Struggled because he didn't receive the ball on countless runs. As I said, he leads the league in 100 sprints. No forward player has made more runs than Victor Gyökeres. He's doing his job, but we're not getting the ball to him. Imagine 100 sprints and only receiving the ball less than 10 times. So we're only giving him the ball on less than 10% of his runs. That's poor. That's poor. So, that's not on Gyökeres, that's on us. And my next player, Martinelli, a lot of that falls down to him. I'm giving him a 3 out of 10. He had 0 impact on the game. He's not getting into space. He never completed a single dribble. Remember when he used to tear up Liverpool and just burn up Robertson and just light them on fire? He didn't complete a single dribble. Just awful. Absolutely awful. And I think that we struggle because of it. Arteta, I'm going to give him a 7 because I thought Arteta set up the team really well. The addition of sticking with Calafiori has proven to be a fantastic decision. No one's talking about where's Miles Lewis-Skelly. The Moreno addition in the midfield. We all knew what you were doing, Mikel, at the beginning of the game. Just trying to stop Liverpool, and you did. You stopped them from playing. And it was fine margins why we lost the game. It wasn't because of anything Mikel Arteta done. Although I think him playing Eze, him starting Eze, probably would have had more an effect on us winning the game and approaching it with a more positive standpoint. So maybe that's why Arteta doesn't get anything higher than the 7 here. That's why he doesn't get an 8 or a 9. And I think if he starts Eze, I think you're winning that game. Not even just Eze, even Wanyeri, even though I don't think that's a game you want to start Wanyeri in. When you got Eze on the bench, and remember, unlike Gyökeres and most of these other players that didn't have a preseason, Eze had a preseason. Not did he have a preseason, but he played in most of Palace's toughest games, especially the European games. So why he was on the bench for this game, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the reason was. So that's it, guys. That's all from me tonight. Garfield said conceded league already. No, not necessarily. I mean, I look, I still believe in Arsenal winning the league, but I just believe that Liverpool are a better team than Arsenal right now. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think with what they've got, Liverpool have spent 450 million, Garfield. Yeah, let me say that again. Liverpool have spent. This is the champions. The champions, the team that won it by such a high margin that no one was even close to even competing with them last season. They went out and spent 450 million. That's it. That's it. So no matter how good you want to talk about how Arsenal is, I don't think that Arsenal are at that level where Liverpool are. They've just got with Isak, they've just got so much that can hurt you. And then he'll come off, and then Ikateke comes in against tired legs. So Andrew said squad not only has options now, but there's a few options in terms of formation tactics. I agree. I mean, like Liverpool have got the best team in the league. That's, you can question it, you can give your opinion, but my opinion is that they're the best team in the league. Garfield saying, but Klopp is saying in that video that no one can compete with City. City dead and gone, man. See them get beat up yesterday. See City get beat up yesterday. So that the whole City dogma is gone. Liverpool are the champions, and they're the ones that are favourite to win the league this season, and that is that. Yeah, all the other teams have got to compete against that. You've got to dethrone them. Yeah, you've got to dethrone Liverpool. So that's it for me, guys. Hey, yo, you want to hear something funny? This Nightcap has gone 38 minutes every episode for 3 weeks running. Isn't that weird? 38 minutes. So listen, that's it, guys. So thank you for joining me for tonight. And yeah, we've got a little bit of a break now, and then we come back. We're going to get Saka back. We've got Newcastle, and we've got Man City, and I'm really looking forward to those games. Time for us to pick our socks up now. Big up to all of you guys, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit that like button, guys. I ain't seen you hit the like button yet. And I'll speak to